so they now find themselves out of slavery. They've been liberated, and now God is beginning this journey with them. And God begins to do something very awesome with them. God begins to restore their original identity. God, through forming this covenant relationship, begins to remind them of who it was that God had called them to be way back with Abraham, one of their earliest descendants. God begins to form them and to tell them and to point them in the direction of what God wants them to do and what God wants them to become and how God wants to transform them as a people. And so we find ourselves here in Exodus 19 that Moses has been talking with God. They've reached this place called Mount Sinai, and Moses has been talking with God, and God comes to Moses and he says, this is what you are to tell the people. Now this is right before the Ten Commandments come down and they really begin their journey. And this is what God says to Moses. Look at Exodus 19, verse 4. It says this, you yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all the nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And so God in this moment begins to give them a glimpse about what it is that God wants to do, where it is that God wants to take them, how it is that God wants to form them. And can I tell you something? When we come to that point where we have that personal relationship with God, where in a sense, where we are liberated from the slavery that we have had to sin, God begins to do this same thing. God begins to form us. God begins to shape us. God begins to speak into our lives and restore in us our purpose and restore in us what it is that God has created us for.